Right, so welcome back. The last reaction video I did was on the Balenciaga shirt. And that was kind of big, so I was like, you know what, let's make this a thing. Let's start reacting to videos. And I think no YouTuber that I know of actually reacts to videos like in general. So I'll start adding quite a few reaction videos. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Now, as the title suggests, we're reacting to the British Vogue video where Naomi Campbell met Virgil Abloh. So let's get into it. Swag.
I'm going to see Virgil. How is this collection for you?
I don't even have words, you know? There's certain shows.
So many people don't rate the collection. I don't know why. Just hating.
I feel like, you know, that show or Vuitton men's was one of those like special category shows.
The clothes were
I thought the show was
beautiful,
so clean. Like,
finished, elegant. Women want to wear those men's clothes. But for me, the feeling, 32 years of modeling, I never felt that feeling of unified love from every single person there for you.
Wow.
yeah, it was that thing where Virgil hugged Kanye was iconic, and they were crying. As if you know the story of how they came up. Like, they both interned, I think, at Fendi, and for no money, just grinding, trying to get in.
It is 8 years ago that we're part of this process. So I can name instances 8 months ago that were part of it. And I think it's a metaphor for anything that one wants to do in life.
When was the first time you came to Paris, you and your crew?
8 years ago now, maybe. Kanye and myself have been friends for 14 years now.
Jeez, I see Naomi Campbell with the React Element 87s.
In the store, like wanting to know more because there's it felt like something that was at play, something that we didn't know but we appreciated. So that was ironically at the Louis Vuitton store on Michigan Avenue. Kanye's like, wait, Paris Fashion Week? This is where the new collections are debuting? I'm gonna go, you know? Like, I'm gonna use this door, and he invited all.
Forget all the new stuff about Kanye, like all the bad stuff. Like, when it comes to fashion, he's worked hard. Whatever your opinion is, he's worked for it.
At the Marie's lobby, come down and look at each other's outfits and be like, oh, you gotta step it up. Like, you know, we need to go this way. We're going to Comme. So this particular show, Comme des Garçons, we get out. There's only 2 photographers. Not like, there was no scene basically. One of which is Tommy Ton, and he takes the photo of Kanye, Taz Arnold, Fonzworth Bentley, Ivan Jasper, Don Pauly, and myself. That photo then like began to like rule the internet. You know, this is like before social media is like fully.
That picture was.
That was us sort of saying.
That's
hey,
like one of my first memories of like fashion and stuff.
So you're not traditionally trained, but what I love is that you don't have to be.
Inspiration.
You've covered it in.
You don't have to go to fashion school or study to be a fashion designer to be successful. If you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't.
From Ghana and West Africa. They did the hardest part of that show, or my journey, which is putting me in a place where I could sort of flourish. They could raise a kid with opportunity, and so, you know, I took advantage of that when I was a teenager. And then my dad said, like, I always wanted a son as an engineer, and I'm the opposite of like a rebel type. So I was like, that's the least I can do for like for you making that stride from a third world country.
Sacrifices.
It's like you're gonna get a son that's an engineer.
Have you been able to use your engineering background in fashion and in your art?
100%. Like, so I studied engineering, then got a master's degree in architecture, and I explained to people it's like how the world works in a way. It's like
let's pause this real quick. Yeah, I try to explain people to this because I study chemical engineering. It's like under STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. And the reason why companies hire people who study STEM subjects is because literally, if you study STEM, you learn how to think outside the box. So your skills that you learn are transferable to so many different industries. So him studying civil engineering was actually a good fit for fashion.
Thinking like, how do you make a building stand up? But then there's the yin yang part of it. It was like, what does the building look like, and what does it do? How does it perform? Why is it relevant? So it's analytical plus like aesthetic. And I use that in fashion design or in my art practice.
Are you a researcher?
Yeah, because what we're living now has already sort of been lived before us. The metaphors are like numerous.
So you got to translate it in another way.
Exactly.
Which you're doing.
Yeah.
Which you've done.
You know, try to.
And now House of Vuitton.
Yeah.
What have you used from the House of Vuitton from the past and their history?
Yeah.
If you had time to even go back into the archives.
You know, I had done a number of like months of research, just even like while I was preparing for the job. You know, I was working on it. And to me, what struck me is like Louis Vuitton himself was very much like how my practice and how I think. And so 1854, he develops the trunk. You know, trunks are usually like a chest at that time, so they all had a rounded top to like, so water would come off the top. So what he had done is he made it flat so you could stack them, because you can't stack chests. You know, you make an innovation, then every other competitor is going to say, oh, I'm just going to do the same thing. So there comes the print. It wasn't the...
See, that's why engineering is so important, because
the ones he made.
literally it helps you think outside the box.
Transpose it to now, say off-white era. And
So now he's talking about Louis Vuitton as a person
so people know
and how they relate, because the creativity, they think similarly.
You know, the diagonal lines or the arrows signified
The cross.
Yeah, but I was doing that to cotton sewn garments.
So many things say the off-white line stuff is overplayed, but that's the aesthetic. That's what makes his brand, just like a Burberry monogram or a Louis Vuitton monogram.
Being at Vuitton, I think it's super profound on a business and CEO and management levels. Like, if you find a creative that's passionate, they'll carry the baton. I went to the archive and you have the original trunks. Then you have Marc Jacobs' whole collection. Then you have Nicolas Gasquet's whole collection. Then you have Kim Jones and all the things in between. And they're allowing me to place my full collections in the same archives that go back to 1854. So that, to me, you can't erase that.
No.
And so, you know, for them to sort of say, you know, pointing me seems like news, but that is
history
like a longer,
has been made.
That's legacy.
Yeah, and I want us to be remembered. That's been.
And I really hope people don't focus on the fact that it's the first black creative director or stuff like that. Just focus on the work.
Like,
don't focus on the skin color.
It kind of makes sense, because Kim
Focus on
Jones
the work.
looked at Kanye and I, and we're like, hey, these kids are eager. You know, this.
Like, I really hate for his legacy to be like the first black
so he was mixing sports
designer or whatever.
and luxury. He had amazing Vivienne Westwood archives, and it was like not looking at Kanye and I like just like you know, a celebrity friend to hang out with. He saw our passion for clothes. He would take us vintage shopping. He would share the energy, and you know, we loved Jordans, and we never met a designer that sort of knew streetwear culture like that. And so, you know, he helped us develop our skill set in design, and we're still friends. So, you know, he was instrumental in sort of like making the transition for me happen.
You had an emotional moment with Kanye.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, on top of the show
Iconic.
being magnificent.
I talked about that earlier.
That
so
just
iconic.
brought everybody's
So
heart
iconic.
out. Everybody just wanted to cry.
They have worked so
Kanye
hard.
was the guy when
It's easy to hate on people and say Yeezy's dead or Off-White's dead or it's this or that, but they've worked. They've been working.
Typecast into a box.
They have
Like,
been grinding.
He willed it for us. You know, like, I'd go back. He was like, we're going to Fashion Week, this place that we can't get in. That dream is his just as much as it's mine. In my dream, it was him down the runway.
Facts.
The one thing that has to be stressed about that show is that it actually wasn't me on the
Why
runway.
didn't Kanye walk for Louis Vuitton?
You know, it was the community.
He should have walked
That
for Louis
show
Vuitton.
was us. You know, and that link wouldn't have happened unless, you know,
Shouldn't have been sitting watching. He should have been walking for Louis Vuitton. I think that would have been more of a big thing, to be honest.
The future of fashion will be like this. So this is.
Or maybe Kanye's too big to walk. Too big to walk on shows.
Fought for this moment is a part of it and is uniquely linked to.
No, I'm sorry, but
doing it.
these Yacht Elements 87s on Naomi Campbell's look too buff.
They
Too
worked
buff.
with Virgil. They were Virgil's assistant. I'm like, wow. And what I love hearing is how you go, as busy as you are, to each and every one show to support them.
Yeah. I learned that from you, by the way. You know, like we do it, we both do it naturally.
We have to support.
Like it's like,
I feel, you know, you can't.
A lot of people don't actually know Ricardo Cheeky and what he's done. I think I should make a video
for that
now.
person, but when I do and I'm committed, I'm committed. So you're really open about the designers you admire.
oh yeah.
Can you tell me? Because I've never asked you that question.
No, to me, just for instance, like Ricardo T.
Very underrated.
Reprogrammed.
Same thing with Shane Oliver as well, underrated.
He was making things, and still is, that related to my lifestyle. It was the first time that I'd seen sort of, you know, high fashion sort of with the fit, proportion, attitude that was happening on the street.
That could transcend.
Nicolas Gasquier, you know, his work from now all the way back to Balenciaga, you know, It's a Weird Trip was the first time that I had seen graphic design in a way that related to what was happening in the street, you know. And so Phoebe Philo, to me, is like, you know, a modern sort of genius for her way to translate.
In fact, it's tough to see yourself doing something when
her ethos is, comes
you don't know anyone that looks like you in that space.
Environment. That's what that moment of my show was.
People don't get it because they're not from minorities, so they don't get the struggle.
Capital D, because no one looked like me. Just plain and simple. I couldn't see. I was like, I'll never get the capitalization. I might just be a designer.
It's like, think of how many white guys realistically think they can be
career, because I was like, I don't see
world record holders in 100
I
meters.
get struck by a certain type of lightning to get.
You don't see white people doing that same thing with
epiphany to
black people in fashion. If you don't see people doing what you want to do,
let alone like, you know,
it's tougher to see yourself realistically doing that.
Yeah, all those things. You know, I have a whole list of things. That's why I love culture and I love, you know, exploring.
Well, none of it's changed you. You're exactly the same from when I met you. I don't say it's this end goal. This is a beginning goal.
Yeah, you know,
this is the
100%.
beginning goal.
Yeah, what's next?
Next?
I honestly feel like I just graduated like school, master's program. You know, now is the beginning. Now is the body of work starts. I look at the show just the other day as my first show. You know, and I now have to sort of remove that block, that glass ceiling of like perception that I had for myself. Like, you can't be that.
You're in it.
So now, and then we're the establishment. Like I will no longer be referencing the old days and then
People just think you just jumped into British Vogue when he's worked for ID for like 20 years, worked for W magazine for ages.
Amen.
No one just wakes up and lands working for British Vogue. That doesn't happen.
We need to sort of like move forward. Let's make the world.
Can't make a video on Edward as well.
And no longer like
that everyone feels comfortable to be.
Exactly, and I feel like we're all full of energy. Everyone has this new perspective, and we possess like an enormous strength. So, like, I'm legitimately like, who can we empower next? You know. I'm
so happy to listen.
Anyway, put your thoughts below, and that's it.
Sweet.
Oh my God, sitting down with Virgil, the busiest man on the planet.
Can I come in?
I can pause it and continue later.
No, I just wanted to collect something.
Yeah, you can do that.
I'm glad I can do that. Thank you so much for letting me do that.
9:13. That's funny. That's what I said, I could just pause it and continue later.